Hello. Welcome to Goalie Interference. We are back. Mike McKenna of Daily Faceoff is back with his jazz hands. I don't think the Golden Knights have won since the last time we did this show, and we missed last one, and they still haven't won. Mike.
Yeah, not good.
No. So you know what
Not
we're
good
going to
at
do
all.
tonight, Mike?
Let's go.
We are going to grab our nuts and get to work.
Oh, yes.
That's what we're going to do.
Well, the Golden Knights didn't do that last night, unfortunately.
I actually really wanted them to go out before the game and actually all grab their nuts on the ice and make a big ordeal about it because it would have been funny, because this team needs funny. They need some fun. They need to be alive. Like, you can't just keep going down the road that they're going. They're grabbing their sticks so hard and losing to teams they can't. What a nightmare.
They're losing to everybody. They're not just losing to teams that they need to beat. They're losing to everybody. And no one's going to feel sorry for us. So there's something that happens in hockey, and it happens in sports. And a coach will walk into a locker room and say something after a game. And you can really tell where a team's at, whether that gets parroted or not. And it got parroted by 3 different Golden Knights. And this was probably, 4 games ago, Ken? I think.
You're talking probably after the Philly, or maybe
it might have been the Buffalo loss.
Possibly Pittsburgh.
I think it was the Buffalo loss. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. And I've been there before, man. The coach walks in and it's like, yep, that's it. Nobody's going to feel sorry. Well, like, what that showed me is that there's not a single creative person in that room that's willing to actually analyze what's happening, and they're just blindly listening to whatever's going on. And they're not able to come up with solutions on their own. And they've become so methodical and so set in their ways that when they can't figure out what's going wrong, they just keep doing the same thing.
And you just say what the coach said. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Like, no one's going to feel sorry for us is the worst assessment I've ever heard. And I heard it from 3 people. The assessment should have been, we didn't work hard enough. We lost too many board battles. We have to be better next game. This is going the wrong way. And you heard a little bit of that, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah, the grab the nuts comment, I think, is actually technically bad.
That was a good one, but that was a couple games later. That was after the frustration had set in. I believe I think Chandler said that after the Columbus game, which was a schmozzle of the highest order, as well as last night's affair versus the Jets.
Schmozzle. I never heard that one.
I mean, like, Ken, they've allowed, oh my God, I can't count that high.
Like 23, I think.
21, 23 goals in their last 5 games. Like, this isn't all goaltending. The goaltending has not been good enough, but it's overall play. Like, I just watched last night's game and I think, man, like, Brossoit definitely let last night get away. But that game against Columbus and even the game against Pitt, like, Columbus was behind the defense so often. Like, it was absurd.
Yep.
Absurd.
I mean, Winnipeg, they're walking in. Like, yes, he's got to make some of these stops, but, like, you cannot let them walk in off the wing over and over and over again. And like I said to one of my friends, I said, Nick Hague, I think he was having a competition with himself to see if he could stick his ass out further or his stick out the other way. Like, I don't know which one went further.
It's been really, really tough sledding for Nick Hague lately.
We got to move your feet. And then, like, especially if you're a guy like him that's not the best of skaters, you have to move your feet, get your body in front. You can't reach out with that long stick. It's not going to work, especially against Kyle Connor.
Kyle Connor. He's going to go right around you. I mean, you look at the defensive core, like, Hague hasn't had a point, I don't think, since, like, probably January.
I don't the points. Yes, they could use them. Of course, it would be better. But, like, to me, they're not defending.
No, but that's like, if they're defending, it means they have the puck more and he'll have more points.
True.
Like, Petro, man, he looked drunk last night. And I don't mean, like, that's, dude, he's been a rock. Like, I think he's been the one guy a lot that's played pretty balls out hard no matter what. But last night he was just lost. And it almost made me think, like, we were talking on, I think it was last week when I was on XM, and we had David Backus on co-hosting with us for this 1 hour on the discussion room. And Backus was saying that Golden Knights, they either need to have a big meeting or they just need to go out on the road and just get in one together. And all I could think of was, I wonder if they got in one in Winnipeg before last night's game, because sometimes they can go either direction. And last night was
When you say get in one, you mean fight each other, basically?
no, it means go out and everybody gets drunk.
Oh, everyone gets hammered. Okay, yeah. I mean, they went to see the movie, which apparently I was told it was Batman. I thought it was Spider-Man. I don't like any of the man movies, so I don't know. Yeah. But like that could have been the day. Like, let's go to the movies and go get hammered afterwards. Yeah. But I think fighting each other.
It's not a necessary aspect. The drinking thing's not necessary. But that's like what teams used to do when things were going bad. You just basically go, the hell with it. We're going to do whatever here and see what we can get going. That's really what that means. Okay. Like, we're not advocating here to like tell your 18-year-olds, hey, go get pickled and then you're going to play better.
They don't have an 18-year-old.
What's that?
They don't have an 18-year-old.
No, they do not. And they're not going to have one.
Have a young player.
They may never have one.
Right. Which is a huge problem.
Yeah. And it's crazy because last night's game, man, they almost got out of the first period like scot-free, you know? And if they would have got out in the first, maybe it's a little bit different, but there's no doubt in my mind that Logan Stanley's goal from that bad angle is just what crushed the team.
Yeah.
And Brossoit's gotten beat like 4 times like that this year. And dude, like, he knows it. He knows that he's doing this, but he has not been able to fix it. And scouting reports out, he's never played this many games before. And now he's being asked to carry the load on a team that's missing so much talent. Like, dude, they're I'm sorry, man. They're so far outclassed in talent that they simply cannot continue to play the same system. If they don't adapt, man, it's over. And I mean that. And I know that we got to stick to our guns. We got to do our thing. We can play our way. Well, that way is going to kill them because they're going up ice and pressuring so hard and it's all coming right back down their throat. And even the games where they play halfway decent, they're not getting the goaltending either. So pick your poison.
Well, they can't
You've
score
got to
either.
change.
They don't score.
No. But I mean, they scored 3 last night. That should win.
I mean, it's 5-1. Like, it was 5-1. You didn't score 3. It was 5-1. Yes, you get 2 afterwards, but come on.
I know that, but they scored 3 in the game. They scored 4 against Columbus. They scored, like
in that game. I don't know. I know
they're running. I know they're running gun games. I get that, but they should be able to put something in. And what's going on now to me is that first, the power play is still, it is what it is. Okay. They can't find much continuity on that whatsoever, even with Eichel in the lineup. I mean, they should have the firepower out there to score on it. I mean, if you chuck Petro, Eichel, Marchessault, Carlson, even, like, I don't know, Carly's really a top-end power play guy anymore, but like, you put them out there and just stick somebody else that can shoot the puck on the point or move it pretty well. Even if you go to Theodore, like, watch these other power plays that are going in. Watch Minnesota's power play, the amount of movement. Watch Kaprizov and Zuccarello just roll around the top. And watch Tampa Bay just go. And that's not Vegas. It's the puck moves. They get it to Eichel on the half wall. He tries to go to the middle, and nothing happens.
The only movement you'll ever get is half wall up to high slot. And even then, it's just a interchange, and then they stand right there, and the second they can, they interchange right back. It's not, there's no confusion for the defenders. None.
No. And I mean, I know Petro got one on the power play, and it's a nice play. You got some bodies at the front, blah, blah, blah. But like, those are eventually going to go in. It's just, you're not seeing the high end goals that other teams score on the power play.
No.
Like, the best teams in the league snap it around and they make D look foolish.
Yep.
And I haven't seen Vegas make D look foolish, except for on the rush, and it's purely because they can move their feet and skate, and they get behind them. And they're in one here, Ken. Like, they're really. This is like DEFCON 5. I don't even know what that means. I'm just using that as a phrase. I'm guessing that's bad. There is a very real possibility this team misses playoffs now. Like, my worry has gone real high because they're walking into the Lions' den at home right now. I know their schedule's not good from here on out, but these next 4 games, the next 2 at home, Florida and LA, those are real deal matchups. And then you get Minnesota, who's playing better, who's still a good team, even though they lost some games, and Winnipeg back-to-back. Okay, on the road.
I looked this up this morning. Since the playoff series, Vegas has lost 5 out of 6 games to Winnipeg. Yep. It's not good. No, Winnipeg beats them, and how much usually are here.
Do you think Schmidt and Stastny are a little amped for those games?
Yeah, I mean, and like, you clearly saw it from Tuck, and Eakin had one of the better games I've seen him have in a while, defending his ass off. Yeah. Like the stat that I pulled today, I'm not sure if you saw it, that the Golden Knights need to be 625 points percentage to get to 93 points. Yep. Like, they're not that far behind the Kings. For the Kings to get to 93 points, they have to be 523, 100 points percentage worse than Vegas. Like, you are in a bad spot here. You're in really, really bad. Yeah, I think Chris is right. I believe DEFCON 5 is okay. You're talking we're in like DEFCON 2 or 3.
I think we're at 2. Yeah,
I don't think you there, but I wasn't 100% sure. We're definitely not DEFCON.
This is why I like doing goalie interference. I learn things, man. So thank you, Christopher. We're gonna go DEFCON 2 right now. But like, what's interesting about it is, even if they don't end up in the top 3 in the Pacific, watch out.
You're playing Colorado. You're certainly playing Colorado. I guess they could be playing Calgary, but and you're talking about, you need either you to play or actually it has to be both. You have to play 625 points percentage, which the Golden Knights have played that exactly once over the course of a 20-game stretch. They were, I believe it was 14-6, I want to say. They were very good for a stretch, but other than that, that's been it. And you can pick and choose around that. It wasn't good around that. They have to do that, and Edmonton has to play under 523, and LA has to play under 430 or 475. Those aren't, all 3 of those are not happening. The chances that they finish in the top 3 now are very low.
Yeah, I mean, you're running out of games here.
They're just low. And then in the next game, all these numbers are going to get worse because the chances that they beat Florida are not that high.
Yeah. These are the things you face when you're in a locker room that you don't ever want to admit to during a season. Because you always think that you can come back. You always think that, oh, okay, yeah, we're only a couple points out. We can do it. We'll be back in the standings. They're lower than the Vancouver Canucks right now, who had a jersey thrown on the ice this year by points percentage.
Yeah, by a fraction.
The Vegas has been so bad that they've given Vancouver life, and
Winnipeg too.
And and I know, amazingly, but Anaheim's just fallen off the map. They are so bad. I was at the Hawks Ducks game in Chicago.
Yeah, they're miserable
last week, and John Gibson was so bad. He was so spread. I actually think I could have made probably 2 less saves than him. That's how bad he was. So.
And they don't defend either.
No, not a bit.
San Jose is actually more of a threat, I think, than Anaheim because of
they're bad too. They're now they are.
They're not good. They have games.
Well, they just signed Hurdle to an 8-year deal, and they
need to play at like a 7-12, which is not happening. But if you're talking about just finishing over Vegas, they're not playing at 625. I don't think it's very likely they're going to play that. So you're talking 91, 90, 89 points.
Yeah. And that's what I was kind of hinting at here was, I think even a week or 2 ago, I said, I'm afraid of this team, even if they make playoffs, just absolutely flaming out in the first round. I thought that was very real just a couple of weeks ago. And now it's I don't know if they're going to make it. And Daryl Sutter, the head coach of Calgary, was so funny today. Or I think it was yesterday. He actually said, well, first round, Colorado, that's 8 wasted days. He's basically see you later. You're done if you play that.
Yeah, and he's right. Round. I mean, he's right. Yeah. I guess Vegas could maybe be the one team that could give them a trouble, but it's probably Columbus against Tampa 2 or 3
I think
years
Minnesota.
ago.
I think Minnesota could on Colorado a little bit, but I just look at this and think, man, there's just too much going on, dude. They got 20 games left and they have no lineup at all, and you don't know when anybody's coming back. We really don't. Who do we know that's going to be coming back soon? We know Hutton's going to get off COVID-19. Great. That will help. You can't put Coughlin out at this stage of the game. All right. You need Hutton out there. You really need Martinez, but who knows? Okay. He's still struggling.
Good. Not looking good.
Stone, who knows?
I think he's going to give it a go. My guess would be Stone will give it a go at some point.
I think he kind of has to, because they're missing the heartbeats so much.
You're the captain of the team. You got to play.
They're just absolutely flat too often. And you can see it. Like there's just no emotional core to this club anymore. And they're all looking around wondering who's going to be the leader, because you got ex-captains. You got an ex-captain in Petrangelo. Now you got an ex-captain in Eichel walking in who's trying to find his way in a certain spot. And he's got all kinds of pressure on him. And truthfully, I think Eichel's actually done a pretty good job coming back from his big injury with nobody surrounding him. I really do. I think the power play is indicative of what they're trying to trot out there. I wish he would just go full rogue. Like,
I agree.
Just do what you want. Like literally give him
that on offensive zone shifts. He doesn't really do it on the power play.
No, but like trotting him out there with that line last night with Carlson and Marcia, so it was just weird to me. Like I understand we got 3 forwards. Like I know what they say
should count.
Yeah, like how about the line they started with last night? They go with Patrick Dadonov and Kolasar.
Yeah.
And that lasted 20 seconds and didn't go anywhere. Like didn't even come close to the other team's offensive zone or defensive zone. It's like they're not the meat grinders, Pete. Like you can't, if you think you're going to get the same
it's not a good strategy anyway. Like you're setting yourself up to maybe you're stealing a shift of them playing their not so great players, but especially when you just look at the rosters, your 12 forwards are not going to be better than their 12 today. So why would you take one extra shift with your line that's going to be, even if they match it correctly, not ideal for you? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Those shifts. You're supposed to be avoiding those shifts.
I thought these lines were goofball. Like
I hate Carlson as the wing. I hate it. It's
I do too.
Complete waste of the best thing he does.
I was going to say the exact. I was literally going to say you're wasting Carlson on the wing.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
He's your two-way center who can win you draws, that will play off and down the ice. He is not your number 1 centerman. He's your number 2 centerman.
So do it.
And Stevenson on the wing, you know what? At least he can fly. Okay. He's not quite the two-way Carlson is. And I think probably they're trying to see what Patrick can do at center just to see like maybe something. But I mean, I know Nick Waugh scored. I just on the wing.
That was a fluke.
Yeah, it popped right onto his blade, man.
Like, it's the classic spray and pray goal. Like you just throw it there and let's hope it goes in.
Yeah. So I mean, and let's not forget, like they miss McNabb a ton.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like you can really see it in these games. Just even like in the Columbus game, that first pass right through the crease to line, a backdoor right away on the power play. To me, that doesn't go through McNabb, and he'd be the first guy on the ice.
Yep.
And you can't, like, he's so valuable to this club. And I thought that he may have even been, before his latest contract, like trade bait potentially, because his contract was kind of big. I didn't know what they were going to do.
It was. That's why he signed it.
Right. And it was friendly. So I don't know. I think they're in such a hole right now because of their lineup that it's very difficult to overcome. But you can look 4 hours down the road to LA and see a team with 7 regulars out, including Drew Doughty, amongst others. And they're still winning games.
They're hanging in.
And their goalies aren't even good. Okay, by comparison. Wow. Like Quick's got the second lowest goals save percentage in the league since Christmas. And Peterson's at about a 90. Okay, that team's just straight up winning. And that's not happening with this club in Vegas, but McClellan has that team in LA playing a game where they can actually get up down the ice, and they're not selling the farm to go in on the rush. And they got Philip Deneau, who can, by the way, play 2 ways pretty well.
He's supposed to be Carlson. Carlson should be doing that. Take away the other team's best player. That's what Carlson's supposed to be doing. That's not how they're using it.
Yeah, I agree. So they have to change their system, man. Like not the whole thing, but like they simply cannot be as aggressive, jumping, blowing the zone, trying to generate rushes. They can't. They're getting caught up ice way too much. They're getting lost in their own zone all the time. Double coverage, blown checks. Like, Petro just, totally misses right off the bat.
Oh my God, that one yesterday. Oh,
and it's just, I've seen him be lost before, but man, it's like kind of at a new level right now. And when Haig's your partner for part of it, and then you see Haig go with Coughlin for a bit, and like, man, they're really in one here. They just don't have the firepower, and they refuse to change. Like, dude, I would pack the middle. I would take the Montreal Dallas playbook if I were the Golden Knights right now.
Do that.
It's not in them. It's not going to happen. I realize that, but that's like your ticket when things go to shit. is to just oversimplify
Yep.
and just take care of your own end. Don't force things that you don't have to. Still be aggressive on pucks. Still kill penalties. It's like, I still like their kill. I still think they work hard on it, man. I think that's great. But goddamn, that neutral zone, it's
Bad. It's bad.
It's not good, man. So
I'm
where
going
do
to
we
ask you a question about, I think you've hinted a little bit at what you would do, but I'm going to make you go a little bit further in not only just what do we do for this week or what do we do for the rest of the 19, 20 games that are left. I keep saying 19 because I've kind of almost written off tomorrow's game, and I shouldn't because I just watched them basically almost lose to San Jose in overtime game. So I shouldn't write it completely off, but I kind of have. But before I ask you that question, I'm going to tell you that goalie interference is brought to you by the Jimerson Law Firm. Jimerson Law Firm is one of Las Vegas's preeminent law firms specializing in high stakes business, civil, and family litigation. When winning matters, maybe the Golden Knights need to call the Jimerson Law Firm because winning matters to them, and apparently it doesn't matter to the Golden Knights recently. 0-5-0 on a road trip and a barely win against Ottawa right before that, and a massive near-blown lead right before that, and a bunch of losses right before that. When winning matters, call the Jimerson Law Firm. You should do that. If you need to win a lawsuit, they will help you do that. So my question to you is this. You're not getting a healthy roster anytime in the very near future. Maybe you can cross your fingers and pray to Jobu that, it'll happen at some point, right? I guess
warmer for bat.
Exactly. Maybe that day can come. But more realistically here, you've got a trade deadline coming up. You've got to make a decision on your head coach. You've got to make a decision on your front office. I give you Bill Foley's ultimate power. What are you doing?
Well, I honestly, without looking into what they're going to do on LTIR and regular IR, I don't know. There's so much in the air when it comes to that. Like, what can they get that's actually going to help right now? To me, they don't have a chance if they don't grab a goalie. That's the one thing I see. Because, I mean, is Robin going to be back? Like, he has an upper body injury with a torn labrum in his shoulder. He has a lower body injury now. Like, he's basically a total body injury.
There's rumors of very bad too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I'm talking not the very bad that had been rumored before, different rumors of very bad. We'll see what happens. But I want to push back there. They get a goalie. Does it matter?
I think it helps a little bit. I don't think it fixes anything.
Are you getting a 625 win percentage and getting your 93 points and then winning 16 playoff games?
I don't think. But how can you possibly go with what you've had so far if you're the Golden? Like, this team was so paranoid about Flowers' play 2 years ago that they got Robin Lehner, man. Like, just because Flower had like a 905 going or something in like the worst year imaginable for him on a personal level, his father passing away and other things that were going on. Like, he started to come around towards, later, and then they make a trade for Lehner. And
then he was fantastic right after they did that.
Dude, Lehner was great.
Lost his job during the pandemic.
Yeah, Lehner and Flower were both great. But this is my greater point, as opposed to like, obviously the Flower trade. Like, we could all go back and look at this. We all know. Okay, we get it. But they were that paranoid about not having goalie depth that they had to go get Lehner. And now they're going to roll into like 20 games left in this season with Brossoit and Thompson.
Is it not similar? Like, and this is going to be a real bad throwback, but they lost Fleury and then Subban and then Dansk. And the argument was, we're not selling futures to supplement this at this time. I will make the same argument. At that time, that team was not winning the Stanley Cup. They were wrong about that. However, I will make the same argument. You cannot throw a future, anything, a 7th round pick. You will not throw that at this franchise. They do not deserve it. This team doesn't deserve help.
That's bold.
They don't.
And I don't disagree. But if you're a general manager and you sit on your hands and do nothing right now, do you think that's going to play with Bill Foley? No chance. You have to do something.
Like,
and it's the
all right.
reactionary world. It's the reactionary nature of the hockey world to just try to, like, you heard Pete DeBoer's comments last game. They asked him how the game went, blah, blah, blah. And 3 separate times, goaltending was the first thing out of his mouth.
Here, I have it. Hang on.
Please put that up. Please read that.
Let me do this. Look, here's the quote. I'll read it. Here it is. He didn't get in front of enough pucks, talking about Brossoit. It's pretty simple. I'm not a goaltending expert. I was going to put that in red just for you, but I decided to.
Well, I am.
I'm not a goaltending expert, but you've got to get in front of a couple.
Yep. This is the classic Rick Tocchet, get big in there. I love you, Rick. DeBoer is a classic goalie hater. He has had that trait previously as a coach, knowing people that have been in the room with him. Now this isn't me just dragging him through the mud. Okay, there's a lot of coaches that are goalie haters out there.
I think that will probably was too.
Things will go okay, and then all of a sudden, when it goes poorly, you dump on the goalies.
Turk would say things like, "I don't really care, just stop them."
Well, that's the old school. I don't know anything about it. Just make a save.
Yeah.
So DeBoer's pissed. He's not getting the saves. They're not leading the games. Goals from the goal line just look terrible, and he's upset. And
so does he march upstairs? I'm assuming it's upstairs. I think I know how the building works. I know where. Yeah, it is. It's upstairs. Does he march upstairs into the room behind the Golden Knights logo and bang on the whiteboard and say, "Semyon Varlamov"?
I need goalie.
What do you do? Is that the right move?
He doesn't have to, because the front office knows that right now they don't have what they need. They're not naive to this. The problem is, what are you going to trade for it? Like you said, Ken, like, are you really going to trade like decent draft picks to go after an Alexander Georgiev, who, in my eyes, I would not want that guy. Okay. Like, there's not a good vibe around Georgiev around the league. And he hasn't stopped pucks this year. He's won like one of his last 9 games. He's only good when he plays a lot. So who else are you going to toss in?
A couple of them.
Like Braden Holtby's not coming to town.
Right.
Dallas isn't trading him now. Anton Hudobin's out for 6 months. So it's going to be Ottinger and Holtby. Take him off the list. We know Flowers not coming back. Like, you might be able to grab a Thomas Greiss for nothing, but he's played terrible this year. So the only option out there to me are like Georgiev and Anton Forsberg. And I am a big Anton Forsberg fan, but what are you going to give up? Are you going to give up a 3rd round or 4th rounder? Like, I don't think
Anton
that's worth
Forsberg mean no more Leonard?
No, because he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season.
You don't think Anton Forsberg's future is as a starter?
I think Anton Forsberg's future is at a 2 or 3 year deal, just slightly above what Laurent Brossoit has. Because for whatever reason, he's 29. For whatever reason around the league, people don't believe Forsberg's a starter. Okay. He doesn't have a name, Ken. That's the way it works. He's making 6 times less money than Matt Murray, and he's outplayed that guy by 20%. This year.
My thought is there has to be a level. Like, the tricky part of buying a goalie at this point is you need a goalie better than Brossoit, but worse than Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
It has to fall in there, because if you buy one better than Leonard, then you have to move on from Leonard. And if you buy one worse than Brossoit,
unless they're a UFA,
what the hell are we doing?
Unless they're a UFA. And like Varlamov, he's got a year left.
See, that is like fire
a non-starter.
You cannot buy a UFA goalie. Everyone should be fired everyone.
Right. So
I want goalie to sell the team if they buy a UFA goalie.
I think basically Forsberg's about your only option. And I think Ottawa wants him back anyway. And I don't think that the Golden Knights they don't have the prospects to package, or even players on the roster to really package that are worthwhile. They don't. Like, there's nothing of something. Like, there's no way you're going to get Dorion they already got fleeced once with Dodonov. Like, you're not going to get Dorion to take Dodonov back. Like, he couldn't wait for him to get out of town. So they're in a pickle, dude. Like,
but like, I still stand with it. Like, I understand where you're coming from with the front office saying, look, we know we don't have good enough goaltending. The head coach, we don't have good enough goaltending at the moment. That's perfectly fine. Like, I understand that being the case, but for the long-term future of the franchise, what is the goal of this season? If the goal is to win the Stanley Cup, then you need a hell of a lot more than a capable goaltender better than Laurent Brossoit. Like
Yep.
none of the names you mentioned, you can create a superhuman of all the names together that you mentioned. They still are not winning the Stanley Cup this season. If the plan is 16 playoff wins, then you cannot buy a goalie because that ain't happening. It's not happening at this point.
Nobody's bought a goalie that's won a Stanley Cup in 20 years, 15 years anyway.
So it shouldn't,
So-
again, I understand why the GMs would want to do it. I understand why DeBoer would want to do it. Foley has to march in there and say, no, we're not doing that because that's not for the best health of the future of my franchise. I'm not allowing that. He has
and I don't see that happening.
He has to.
I don't know if that's the level of lucid thinking when it comes to this. So I'm.
I mean, but like, what could he possibly be thinking?
I would actually be encouraged right now if this team came around to the idea, something you floated very early this year, about it essentially being a layover year until next year. I would actually be encouraged if they did that.
Sell. You have to sell.
Well, what can they sell?
Riley Smith.
That's it. And he's hurt.
You could well, he's hurt. Yeah, okay. Matthias Janmark also hurt. I think you could sell Shea Theodore right now.
Oh, sure you could. But do you want to do that?
Somebody would pay pretty handsomely for it.
But that's not happening either.
Why not?
I don't see Theodore going anywhere because young defenseman, I mean, he's not really that young anymore. They're just not available. And I mean, you might get draft picks out of it, but you're going to feel that pain for a while because they can't backfill that right now. Like that would expand Nick Wagg's role.
What's the difference? Like, and also, wouldn't it be better? This is going to sound horrible. Wouldn't it be better to finish in the top, outside of the top 10 so that you get your pick back?
I don't.
They're not. I mean, so they make the playoffs. What are they doing? 2 wins
right now. Who knows?
I mean, if you're going to miss, you're best off finishing in, what would that be? 22nd?
But it's not in this team's DNA to just tank it, man. Like that's what I'm getting down to. They will not accept defeat until they're literally out 4 games before the playoffs. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. This is not a team that will ever.
Is that Foley? Is that McPhee? Is that McCrimmon? Is that DeBoer? Is that everyone? Who is that?
I mean, I think that's just the ethos of the franchise, man. It is literally, we are better than this.
Who created that ethos?
Well, who printed it? The U.S. Army.
Okay, all right. So you think it's Foley?
Yeah, I mean that's it. We're going for it. We're going to win.
Foley, then
you don't trade for Jack Eichel to just like kick the can here, which is what should happen. But they like you can't give up Theodore. Like you can't. Like they don't have D right now to fill that. And then you'd have to go buy one. There it is. Never retreat. Always advance, never retreat. Like it's late. It's printed on the walls in the office, man. Like, and they don't care. They don't really care who you run over to get there. I mean, ask Nate Schmidt, who thought he had a handshake, no trade clause, right? Well, how'd that go? So,
but is that not part of it?
Which part?
Is that not part of why we're where we are? Is that they've created, I'm trying to put it in a way that makes me sound like philosophically smart and as opposed to just saying it what I'm trying to get across. I believe they have created a bar that is so high that it is unattainable at the moment. And that bar is, I think it's beyond winning a Stanley Cup. I think they honestly believe we're supposed to win every single game. There is never going to be a team better than us, and we are going to win every single game, and we are always going to be the best team in the league. That bar has been set. Whether you reach that bar or not, if one person anywhere in the entire globe can do the job this much better than you, we will bring him in and you are out.
Come on down.
Right?
You're our boy.
Here's the bar. Here, super high. Actually, it's like up here because off the screen of what I'm doing. Bar unreachable. Reach it or not, you can still go. Who created that, and how do they fix that?
Well, I mean, that's from the top. It's Bill Foley. Like he told Carlson he needs to win 2 Stanley Cups before his contract's over that he signed. The team-friendly deal.
But isn't
it's not that's not verbiage, dude. Like people want to win. And Ken, I'm going to be really very, very clear and honest and lucid about this. You've got people that don't understand, like people that were not involved in hockey 8 years ago, like I'm going to use a bad phrase here, Johnny come latelys that think you can just like instantly build a powerhouse and do it every single year. Okay. And that's just not how this works. And the New York Rangers tried to,
I can't make you pinpoint exact names, but like where in the are we talking? Like, is that Bill?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I mean. It's just that is the ethos, man. Like we are going to do whatever.
What I don't understand, sorry to step on you here, but I don't understand is if Bill comes in and says that, how does he then hire someone who is perfectly fine with not trying to build a winner for the entirety of what should have been 3 seasons? Like he said, we're going to build a powerhouse, but he also said cup in 6, playoffs in 3. He said 2 seasons of missing the playoffs he was fine with. Right. We've had 0. Well, like, I don't think he's this maniacal, ridiculous concept of like, we will always win. No, I don't think he has that. And he hired people who have done this before. And yet we're here with a system and a setup that is ridiculous to the point of no one can succeed under it.
Yeah. Well,
so that has to change, right?
It does. Like, but how do you change it now that you're locked in with all these big ticket items?
How many big ticket items are you actually locked into, and how many of them are a problem? I don't think it's that big a deal.
Stone, 3. Petro, Eichel,
okay,
even Patches. Like
Eichel's awesome, right?
What's
is
that?
he not? Is he? Are we changing our mind already? I mean, I didn't like the deal in the first place, but if I'm reshaping a roster around a number 1 center who is a legitimate number 1 center, a number 1 defenseman who is a legitimate number 1 defenseman, not last night, but has been for the most of the time, and a legitimate high-end 200-foot player that plays wing, that is a goal creation guy, injured at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen there, but these aren't big ticket items this isn't Mikhail Grabovski. You know, this isn't Jeff Skinner.
They're not, but you're getting guys who are older. They've gotten guys that were free agents at the end of their free agency period, 29, 30. And you're starting to see that. Pacioretty, like, listen, why do you think they dangled Pacioretty's name out there in trade rumors a summer ago? Why do you think his name was
had to consider moving on, and they didn't?
Because they know we can't stay healthy. Correct. That's my impression.
Correct. I would agree.
And here we are again. It's literally been, I covered this team for this is the 3rd year, and every year in playoffs, he hasn't been healthy.
Yep.
You know, how do you keep that? And that's where, like, it's amazing. It was surprising to me. You bring, I mean, Dadonov at $5 million. It was just like,
and that was just an error. That's just a flat out error.
But I still think that this team is weighted very heavy on their contracts. Like, you know, when you have 4 guys that are that heavy, like, it eats up space. And when you lose them out of your lineup, man, you're 1 or 2 injuries away. Like, this team, it's not like they've lost everybody.
No.
In you know, they've lost quite a few. But Brett Howden shouldn't make or break it for you. He's been great, by the way. I mean, kudos to Brett Howden. Okay, I thought that like, I played with Howden when he came to us out of junior in Syracuse, and I thought, okay, this guy's an okay player. I didn't think he'd crack. I didn't know if he'd crack the NHL, but those couple years in New York, I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be a spare part. Okay, for a 4th line dude, he's done pretty well. So credit to him. But that's not make or break.
They miss him right now. But like.
Right. That's what I mean. It's not like they're rolling over going, oh,
they need a Brett Howden. But if they when we first got this group of like, okay, they're bringing in Eichel, or even before, and we're like, okay, how does this look? And the option was, you're going to have super highly paid Eichel, super highly paid Pietrangelo, super highly paid Stone. Now, when you start going underneath that, yes, there are other players. You have the Paciorettys and Carlsons, Theodore, Smith, Marchessault, Leonard, these group. Now, of all of those, there's never been a point, and I'm not sure why we're getting there all of a sudden, that's like, that can't win. I feel like we always were on board of like, you know what, I think it can be healthy. So why aren't we looking at saying, okay, well, if the issue is that guy's never healthy at $7 million, move on from him. This guy's playing 5.25, not playing to the level. Let's move on from him. Like, I do think they might actually have to make a shift and build the roster around your 3 no-move clauses, as opposed to trying to hold on to whatever the hell we're trying to hold on to, which we've ripped down from what was actually at its best 4 years ago anyway.
I don't disagree with that. I think the problem that you're really seeing now is that nobody's filtered through in prospects and fit forward, especially. There's no entry level contracts.
Five drafts. Right. 0 impact players. The most impact player was a free agent.
So basically, when you have success the first year and it instantly flips the script, we're going for it every single year now. That's deviating from the plan. Okay. Now the 30,000 foot look at this would have been, okay, we had an unbelievable season, but we've got to stick to our plan here. We're not going to do this every single year. We've got to stick. And it didn't happen. And now you have that effect where there's nobody forwards, none.
And that stopped at the deadline year one when they
Like,
bought
dude, look at
Reeves and Tatar.
Look at these teams that can go for big players, right? Like, look at it. Look at Florida, who's chucking around cash and making space. Like, they have like 6 entry-level guys on that team right now. Maybe not 5, but like Lundell, Lusterrain. Like, they have like impact forwards on that team.
Yep.
Look at Minnesota. They've got Boldy. They've got others. They've got entry-level players making a difference. And that's where you get your value. Like, they need more White Clouds, but at forward. Like, dude, that contract for White Cloud's awesome.
So
like, they really,
is that not possible to find with moving on from some of your middle class? Like, the middle class of the Golden Knights, while I understand they are mostly the misfits, it's time. I think they just need to completely take the sword out of DeBoer's back and stab it through the rest of the misfits now, because that era is dead. Like, you cannot continue along that era and have this massive upper class, massive middle class, and no lower class at all. You have to start building that lower class. And I think that starts with utilize one of the 2 points in the calendar that you can get these types of players. We're in one. It's 5 days away. This is an opportunity. Go get some.
It's not going to happen.
Why not? It has to. It has to happen.
Listen, I'm just giving you the perspective of what I think what they will do. This is not me. Like, I would like to, if I could get picks back for Riley Smith, the way things are right now, I would.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, they still, like, I still believe that there's a thought process that we can still make playoffs here and make some hay once we get everybody back.
Really?
I just, that's
fantasy land.
I agree.
I'm going to grow a full head of hair tomorrow too, Mike.
Well, good.
It's not going to happen.
You can't play because it's going to take Propecia, and that will register as a performance-enhancing drug.
They've done that too.
Yeah. So
only team in 5 years.
I'm not convinced they're going to make a move and lose players. How about this one? Imagine if they'd gotten Erik Karlsson. I just want to toss that out.
I think about that a lot.
Oh, was that a bullet dodged there?
I think about that a lot. They probably wouldn't have Pietrangelo, but yes, I think about that all the time. And again, like, I have to go back to, like, you're saying I don't think they're going to do it. And I'm not disagreeing with you in any way, because the history of the franchise tells us they're not going to do that. The history of the GM before he was here, what's president of hockey operations, he's not going to do that. That's what it says. However, how can it be so abundantly clear to everyone but that group of people that this is the route you have to go? They have to wake up, right?
At some point, it's going to pay. Like, you got to pay the dues, man. And I think that's what it's going to take. Like, if they miss playoffs, and maybe it changes things. Like, and I really don't. Like, I don't see them making playoffs right now.
What difference is it? Like, so you sneak in. Like, their best chance of getting in is, say they do play 625 hockey, which, okay, if you play a month and a half of 625 hockey, we can live. I think it's more likely they play like 600 hockey and they sneak in because everyone else shits themselves and they get in with 90 points. And you play Colorado and they beat you 4-1 in the first round.
Yep.
Like, why is that better? Why would you buy to supplement to be that? That's stupid.
Because once you're in, and that's hockey ethos.
Like, man, I love this car. Like, this car is so awesome. And everyone else in the world is like, the car's a piece of shit. Yeah, but I'm putting a new $20,000 transmission in it. Bud, don't do that. Like, It's so clear. Don't do that. They cannot do it. And I have to believe that Bill Foley, a very smart businessman, is going to wake up and smell the bacon, smell some roses, whatever you would smell. He has to smell something. I know what I smell about this team right now.
They need bodies. I'd like to see what they would do with the bodies, but they're not there. So
no, why do they need bodies? It's over.
I know I'm living in a fantasy world where they can
You
suddenly be
are.
healthy again.
They're
And
not.
they're not.
They're not. It's
I
not
know.
happening.
Like legit, who do we think could come back here in the next month?
Yanmark, Smith, McNabb, Howden, potentially
Stone will gut it out if he
Stone.
has to.
Potentially Stone. I don't know about Pacioretty. I don't think that's going to be you're not going to get elite Pacioretty if you get him, and he's probably going back out anyway. I don't think Martinez, I'm at the point where if Martinez does not play tomorrow, I think he's probably done for the season. He didn't go on this road trip. He's so far out. I think if he doesn't play within the next 2 games, he's probably done. And then from there, Leonard, you're not getting an elite Leonard the rest of the season. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
So what are we doing?
Disagree. Yeah.
What are we doing?
They're pickled. So I would be, Ken, I'd be remiss if we didn't pull up a tweet that was sent in about this. This very specific question.
Which one?
I liked it. Is regarding save percentage and chances for percentage statistics that Cake Q3 sent in.
Oh, yes. All right.
And this was a really good question that I'd like to get to.
Let me see if I can find it. Can you remember it?
Oh, I've got it right in front of me right now.
Okay, I'll try and pull it up.
So essentially what it's asking is Pete DeBoer has always had a positive chances for percentage, but almost always a less than average save percentage. And the save percentage difference seems to get worse over time. So essentially what's being said here is that the teams that he's coached, the Devils, the Sharks, that's what they have for reference. They don't have Florida on here because that was the first go round. The team has continually put up more chances for, but they have not gotten saves. Now, these are just standard chances for. These aren't your high dangers. These aren't anything. These are just pucks to the net, pucks to the net, pucks to the net. Greasy ones. That's another thing. I heard Ben Hutton say we got to get a greasy one. Dude, this isn't a greasy team. You need to create goals, man.
You got the stupid greasy one from Nick Waugh, and you were down 5-1 after you got it.
Right. So the chances for is, kind of curious how that's happened. I think it's been pretty flat. DeBoer's teams create a lot of chances, which all that means to me is that they get pucks to the net in some capacity. Okay, it's a perimeter. It's shots from everywhere unless it's rush. There's not a lot from the middle. I've played against the teams before, and that's what I always knew. I knew I had to be ready for shots from the goal line, from the point, from everywhere. That's where they're going to throw it to the net. Volume shooters and hopers. And as for the save percentage, though, that's where I think it's interesting to look at San Jose's especially. And if you look at it New Jersey's, it held pretty flat. You also had a guy named Marty Brodeur there and Corey Schneider back when he was still playing pretty well. But San Jose's went down pretty quick. When things get off the rails with the DeBoer system, they go way off the rails. And that's what happened in San Jose. And it happened in Jersey. And Martin Jones wasn't a great goaltender there. I think he didn't get a lot of help from the goalie department. I don't know who they'd hired there to really help bring him along. I know who they hired, but I wasn't sure what he was doing. The chances for tend to go up with DeBoer systems because they start to press even more so offensively. And that's what we've seen this year is an increase in aggressiveness, an increase in playing fast, an increase in trying to keep up with teams like Tampa that can wheel like crazy. But a team like Tampa has Vasilevsky in the net, and the Rangers have Shesterkin in the net, and
Vegas had
St. Louis Blue. The St. Louis Blue, Vegas had Fleury. St. Louis Blues had Jordan Binnington in the net when he was on an absolute tear. If
the
you're going to play,
Avalanche don't have somebody to that level and haven't for the past 3 seasons, and that's what happens when they go to the playoffs.
Kemper's had 2 straight shutouts and been
this year they might have
good. He's been really good, and Francouz has too.
They have not.
They haven't seen it.
And that's what I'm trying to say is that's why they've flamed out.
Yeah. Basically what I'm trying to say, you need excellent goaltending with a Pete DeBoer system, or else you're not winning, because the chances that are given up are that high a danger, and they tend to be on the rush. And if you can't control that, this is what you're stuck with. And I think that kind of explains where it's gone.
$10,000 question, or do you want me to just pass on it because you're not going to want to answer it? And I've dodged it like 16 times in the last 3 days.
You're not going to fire him when he doesn't have the players, if that's what you're going to.
Yeah.
And that's, you absolutely can't can a guy when he doesn't have firepower. You can't do that. I wouldn't do that.
They've done it before.
I know that. And there's teams like Devils have done it. Teams have done it. I don't think that's the right thing to do in my eyes. Maybe I'm soft. Maybe I'm not hard-nosed enough for these type of things. I don't feel like that'd be the right thing to do. I just think it's a really hard system to play. I think it's a really hard system to keep it up and be consistent. And with this lineup, it's not happening.
Let's answer Angela's question. Do you feel like the players are tuning him out?
I don't think they're tuning him out, but I think they're probably thinking like, man, this hasn't worked for a long time, especially the power play. That's what I wonder. Like, I wonder if behind closed doors they're having dinner and going, oh, here we go again. We're doing the same thing.
So here's the issue I have, because I'm where you are. I look at what's happened, and I look at roster construction. I look at the way that it's built. I look at some of the mistakes that have been made. I look at what I'm calling the ripple effect of a lot of these moves to get 1% better have made you 20% worse. I think a lot of ripple effects have been there. And that's why my focus tends to be a little bit more on, I think the front office deserves a little bit more criticism than the head coach at this point. However, I cannot deny at all in any way that the offensive system isn't good. It hasn't been good enough. They're not scoring to the capability that they have. The defensive system has fallen apart in front of our eyes, despite the fact that it was very good against a shit schedule last season. It has fallen apart in front of our eyes. They are not looking like a team that can take a roster that is not as good as the opposing team's roster and win. That is on the coach. That is what the coach is here for. To me, you have to consider it. I think you would consider wiping the entire thing clean. That, to me, would be the answer of possibly how to fix all of this. I don't have a better answer for you right now. And like, I'm interested in what you think of my ridiculous idea that I came up with a couple nights ago and then doubled down on last night. And now I'm tripling down on. I'm all in on this apparently now. I want Mark Stone to stand behind the bench and be the coach. I'm serious.
No.
I'm serious. I think they need to be undercoached for a little while. I think they need something unique. I think they need to have something fun. I think they need to have less pressure on them. And I think that would tell them, we don't believe that this season's going anywhere, so have some fun with this shit.
That's not going to happen first.
I'm well aware of that.
There actually might be a clause in the CBA that prevents a player from going on the bench. Now, you want to take that a different direction. What I think actually is plausible, should they decide to go in a different direction with coaching, I think Kelly McCrimmon goes behind the bench. That would be plausible to me.
I liked that idea the day they fired Gallant. I actually think he should have stood there for 2 games because I thought that was a statement of, we've built a roster that's good enough. I'm going to prove it to you by I'm going to stand here until I find the next guy. I thought that was the correct move at that point. At this point, I think the entire every single player that's not named Stone, or Pietrangelo, or Eichel, and even Eichel shouldn't be there yet because his new move hasn't kicked in yet. All of those players, I think, are terrified of that person and his boss or cohort or whatever you're going to call them. I think they're terrified of that, and I think it would further cement the not being able to play up to your potential if you did that. I think that would be the worst idea, personally.
I just think that could easily happen. That's kind of, if I shouldn't say easily, but I think if they were to look in that direction, that might be how they go. I mean, like, at this stage of the game, this late, you don't bring somebody in from outside usually.
Oh,
and they're not going to bring in Manny Viveros from Henderson.
Let Mark Stone do it.
You can't, like, I'm telling you, like, I don't think that's even allowed in the CBA to put a player behind the bench. And he's not a coach. He doesn't want to do that. Like, that's insanity. He would never want to do that, Ken, ever. I understand you have to tell him to do it. Like, you can't
box with me and eat the fucking peanuts.
You can't force a guy to coach. He doesn't want to coach.
Wait, hang on. Do you think if there's any opportunity that Mark Stone can help his team while his back's screwed up, he wouldn't take it?
I'm telling you right now, he would have the foresight to realize he is not qualified to do that, not qualified to run a bench.
That's the point. Do it. Why I'm doing it.
Well, Wayne Newton would go. There it is, right there. Easy.
I know it's going to be funny. We're going to be laughed at. That's the point. Make this fun.
You're crazy, man. I don't like
I get it.
you got some harebrained ideas, dude, but that's a wildest one you've floated, I think.
I
And you've been
understand
laughing.
how stupid it sounds, and like I get it, but honestly, like, could it be worse? What's going to happen? They're going to go on a road trip and lose to Philadelphia, Buffalo, Columbus, Winnipeg, and Pittsburgh? Oh no! Right?
So are you going to you're going to like tell DeBoer to take a hike for a couple of days and put Stone behind the bench, or are you going to fire DeBoer?
He'd be gone.
Okay. As I say, if you undercut all their credibility by putting him up there.
No, he'd be gone. He has to be. If I were to go that route, he has to be.
Yeah.
If I'm in charge, I think I'm to the point I'm probably wiping out all of it.
You've gone full nihilist here.
And again, I'm not in charge, so I don't actually expect that to happen. But I do think we are, like, I've diagnosed based on watching this and spending my life covering this, I guess, which is sad when I said that out loud, but here we are. I feel like I'm to the point where I think the players cannot play to their potential with the environment that they're being asked to play in. And until that environment changes, I think the best option, because I believe that they have a good general manager, they have a good president of hockey operations, they have a good coach. I don't think they have elite in any of those scenarios. I think they're good in all of them. But I do think there is an issue that has to be corrected. And I don't think that any of that group are going to actually correct it. They have to admit, we screwed up. We made life wrong for all of you. We should not have done all of this. We have to admit that. They're not going to. And therefore, if I'm Bill Foley, I think that's the route I would have to go. I'm officially dove off the deep end, apparently.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Mark Stone. Who would be the replacement coach? Mark Stone is the answer.
Somebody floated Tortorella, and that actually kind of got me excited.
No.
No,
that's the same problem. You think the bar was here. Now it's like,
listen, I'm not even thinking about a replacement coach. I think they're not. I mean, I was shocked when they canned Gallant. That was a major surprise.
Need a coaching. No. They hate me already.
Yeah.
I would hate me too.
So how are they going to respond to Florida? Like,
they're going to get their ass kicked, Mike.
I think there's a really good chance of that. Now, Florida just made a couple trades. They got Ben Sherratt. He's in town now. They got rid of Vetrano to make a little space.
Florida also just kind of played like crap for 2 out of 3 periods 2 nights ago on the road in San Jose. Like they don't want to play like crap again.
No. How about San Jose gave Hurdle an 8-year deal? Wow.
$8 million. I didn't like that.
They should have let him walk. They should have traded him for all the picks in the world. That is a team that is not very self-aware of what they are right now. They're going to be mediocre for a very long time if they don't realize they should have sold that. But I think that they're in trouble against Florida, and I think they're in trouble against LA. For some reason, I think they got a chance against Minnesota coming in on the road, or they're in Minnesota. But like, can this team not disintegrate in a 7-game span, like 6 games, 7 games? Could they really lose that many in a row? They could right now with this lineup, the way they're playing.
They could lose 9
really
in a row.
Could. Yep.
Like LA, I think LA is the most winnable of the games. I don't like their chances of winning at Minnesota. I don't like their chances on a back-to-back having to go back to Winnipeg. That team is better than them at the moment, and Winnipeg's not good. But
no,
Florida, like, what makes you say that they could beat Florida? Like, I think they should be plus 250 tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't know what gambling terms are. I'm guessing that's probably pretty heavy in favor of Florida.
It's a lot.
That's
a lot. They were plus 110 yesterday.
I would not put my money on Vegas.
That means you get 110% back of what you're betting. Like, I think they should be 2-1, 3-1 dogs tomorrow. Like, to put it in March Madness terms, I think the Golden Knights are a 15 seed tomorrow. Somebody
just tossed Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet lives in Vegas now.
All right, we got a guest. Let's go. Harrison's been asking to come on.
Come on, Harrison. Come on down.
This could be anything. I don't know. He's been asking the entire show. I sent it. We're doing it. This could go horribly. Harrison, make us proud, bud. Let's go.
All right, sweet. Lifetime listener. Sorry, it's 11 o'clock here. I'm in Philadelphia. I just ran to get my Golden Knight crew neck. I also got the Golden Knight puck, but
Your teeth are elite, man.
thank you. Yeah. My dad's an oral surgeon in Vegas, so
Those are, I'm telling you, like
My dad's a dentist in St. Louis General Practice, dude. Put the bumps right there. Boom.
Hey, dentistry. Woo! But I just have to say, I'm so glad I did not go to the Flyers game against the Golden Knights, because my friend's a diehard Flyers fan, and he would have.
I'm glad you didn't. Too.
Well, he was texting me a lot. I was dying. I did go 2 years ago, my freshman year. I took a girl on a date to a Flyers game against the Golden Knights, and we lost, so that was really bad. But we're just never good in Philadelphia. But I just want to say, as I was a competitive swimmer, and like the coach always has something to say, but I just don't see Peter DeBoer behind the bench like do a miracle on ice-esque, like the badge, like the crest, the Golden Knights crest is more important than the name on the back. It just, what is going on? What do you guys
see Mark Stone doing that?
I would like that's what I was saying. And before you even said if like can Mark Stone go on the bench, I've been thinking for the past week, like he's the captain. Why shouldn't he be able to like coach the players or be on the bench and just be there? Like, where is Mark Stone right now? I know I've seen him in the Ridges before. So is he just like chilling? Like,
he's in the press box with me, eating peanuts.
Yeah, home. And you know what? He's around the team a ton, like on morning skates and game days and everything. It's just not for games, but they are missing that heartbeat. If that's really kind of what you're getting at, I agree with you. And I don't think that Pete's. I mean, I don't think that Pete is the greatest motivator of men, and that's kind of like the position of being a head coach in the NHL has kind of veered from that. You don't have as many big speeches like you had with Herb Brooks, but you do have guys like Craig Berube in St. Louis that is really respected by his players, and when he speaks, they all listen.
His nickname, he has a great nickname. I can't think of it right
Chief.
now. Chief, yes, yeah. I knew it.
Well, he's Berube's First Nations, Native American. I'm not sure popular vernacular at this point for it, but like there is a thing about Pete that he tends to be a little bit prickly sometimes, I guess, that can kind of be a bit of a downer sometimes, and that dourness can be contagious.
Is this down?
Yeah, but I mean that happens from everybody. I don't know, and I'm not saying like DeBoer would come in and rah the guys to death. I'm sorry, Berube. I just mean like some coaches really carry an extra layer of cash to them like that. And that seems to be what's there. Even like John Cooper in Tampa.
You know who really
he's got that. What's that?
You know who really has that?
The swag? Who is it?
Gerard Gallant.
Yep, he did. Yeah. But he also has the rep of having country club training camps. And I tell you what, I love
5 minutes ago. But like, that's part of it. That's part of it. The biggest mistake they've made in franchise history is firing Gerard Gallant and putting out a press release at the exact same time and hiring Pete DeBoer at the exact same time.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday. That was just
it was wrong.
Insane.
It was an interesting broadcast to do that night.
Yeah. And then also, just really quickly, I also have one more question is, I mean, as you've said before on the podcast, and I think you guys have said it like multiple times, we have all these past captains, we have all these leaders, like past 5 games. Who do you think, if anyone in the locker room is like, guys, we need to get our shit together? And we like, I know Chandler Stevenson said we need to hold our nuts, but
grab your nuts.
Like
we didn't even do it. Somebody
grab our nuts, but we're losing 7-4 to the Jets. So it's
I grab my nuts in this show hard.
Yeah. It's to me right now at this stage, I think it's Petro. But it's a tough task there because he's kind of the only guy left right now that has that experience. Eichel's too new for it.
Make a mistake at the blue line and give up. The game, like,
right?
Come on.
And I know, like, people think like Marsh. I see so many people that think Marshy's like could be captain. He should be captain. And I'm like, do you guys see the penalties Marshy takes, the retaliatory?
Yeah,
like,
would he?
Like, dude,
would he take him if he was the captain?
Sure, he can't. Like, he wouldn't be a captain though. Period. He wouldn't be the captain. Like, I love Marshy. I had so much fun playing with him. He's a great friend. He's everything else. But like, he was like your petulant little brother, like he just always expected something to happen. Like, he's not a captain type.
But if it wasn't Mark Stone, who would it be?
Isn't that what they need? Don't they need someone who's not a captain? They are the most corporate, boring team ever right now.
In Vegas, of all places.
I know. So can we put someone in there that has fun?
Well,
As
it's
I
all
agree.
business, man.
Yeah.
They need Stone. They need Stone for that. It is Petro who would be the guy at this stage. It would not be Eichel. What Riley Smith is a major voice in that locker room. He's not
Another
playing
guy.
right
He
now.
has the A. So.
Martinez, same way.
Martinez
Major
is
voice.
different. Martinez would actually work because Martinez is a completely different type of voice than what they've been hearing. Mark Stone is a different voice than what they've been hearing. He's just not there at the moment. Should be the coach, but I just don't think like Pietrangelo has been here for one of the seasons and he hasn't been through this. They never lost last season until they did, and then they couldn't figure it out what to do. What do we do now? Just keep losing? All right, cool. Like, how can he be the guy? Because he won before with another team that needed to fire their coach and get him.
Because it's the feeling in the locker room. Like guys know who the leader is, man. I'm telling you, Petro is who they would look to.
I don't think they have one. I think they look around and say we don't have one.
Yeah, but
I don't agree with you there. I don't agree with that. Like I
want someone exciting. I want a player that like Eichel maybe in the future if Stone just like he can't do it anymore. I don't know. I just want a player that's exciting, that's fun to watch, and then also someone that's like on the younger side, on the other side of 30. But
that's where you need draft picks.
Yeah, well, we don't have.
Right.
You know who would have been good? Wait, I got another idea. Wait, this is a wild one. This is a crazy one. You know who would have been really good to help this team get out of their slump right now? Alex Tuck.
Oh yeah.
I miss big X Factor.
They had Gerard Gallant, Alex Tuck. Let me give you one more name. Hang on.
Here comes the revisionist.
Oh my God, what a team they would have. And we blame the coach for all of this. Like, this is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. It's really a strong juxtaposition when Flower goes, I think, 42 for 44 and virtually steals one.
They're talking about it being a first-round pick, Mike.
Oh, yeah, he'd be a first-rounder if he goes somewhere.
Mikkel Häkkinen is what they got for him 6 months ago. And then they didn't even tell him that they traded for him. Nor did they even tell Mikkel Häkkinen. I need to find Mikkel Häkkinen. Him and I are going to have a great conversation. But, like, you can't – what is it going to look like if that happens? If he goes for a first-round pick, are you kidding me?
It's going to be horrible. All right, I have to go write an essay.
That was
so you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys hopefully next week.
That was
Thanks,
awesome.
Harrison. That was great. That's a great call. And see, that's a person who understands how to use technology, how to be ready to go on the fly, how to smile, have a good time. Great hair, great teeth, like all about it. That was fantastic.
I'm terrified of the essay he has to go right after.
Send him a bobblehead.
Send him what?
Send him a bobblehead. We got to have a bobblehead.
Here. Oh, look who I have. Wait. You're going to love this. I've got another guy that I actually think would really help this team right now. Nate Schmidt. Nate Schmidt.
Well, definitely have him he would definitely up the fun factor.
But seriously though,
they're not having any fun at all.
And they can't because everyone who has fun, they've gotten rid of because they can make him 1% better.
Flower, Holden, Schmidt, Reeves, Tuck,
Hunt.
Yeah. Brad Hunt.
Merrill.
Johnny Merrill, dude.
Belmont.
Johnny Merrill, big time, man.
Johnny Merrill's great. John Merrill's awesome. Everybody loves John Merrill. Like at some point, we have to sit back, and by we, I mean Bill Foley, has to sit back and say, I had the most lovable, greatest story in the history of professional sports in North America, and now I have this.
Yep.
What happened? And you can't I can't imagine he's going to sit there and just think, the stock will turn around. That's not how he operates. That's not how he should operate. That's not how billionaires operate.
No, I'm telling you, man, if they miss playoffs, all bets are off. Who knows? We used to have this saying when we were on bad teams. I think it happened when I was in Arizona the one year where a couple guys got moved and we just started walking around going, nobody's safe. And we were all just walking around expecting to get dealt the next day.
Imagine saying that on a team that should be a cup contender and the bar is a cup contender.
Nobody's safe. That's what it's going to be.
What if they traded Eichel?
Now we're going nihilistic.
I'm just asking.
I could If you're talking about big dogs that can move, I could see just with Pacioretty's health, I could see them trying to move.
Who's taking him?
Somebody would. Somebody
Really?
always does, but they might
Why?
have to retain salary on that.
Oh
I don't think
God.
it's this year. I'm just saying, like down the road, man. Like I could see that.
You're retaining salary for next season when you're already over?
No,
Oh,
that's not going to happen. So you have to pay somebody to take the Don off at this point too.
like, so why not trade guys that you can get value for? Because we're going to lose. Because we might lose the next 18 games. Well, guess what? You're going to anyway. You just got stomped.
You can't.
5 games on the road. They led for 4 minutes.
That would be showing weakness, and that would be retreating. Ken. You can't retreat, Ken.
It's time to show some weakness, Billy boy.
Weakness, strength through weakness.
It's time to retreat, Billy boy. The only way to advance is to retreat every once in a while. Retreat, regroup, regather, move the things around on the little map in your house.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Was it over? Well, guess what? It's not over. It doesn't have to be over. My shirt says it. LF go. Sell everyone at the deadline.
Well, I think we're over for this week.
Are
But
we?
okay, let's get the picks in for real here. Like losing to Florida for sure. Let's pick the score instead of the actual.
Yeah, they're not.
Pick the score. I want the score.
4-1.
5-3.
Oh, 3.
Florida's pretty loose, man.
Yeah, they are. Good goalie, though.
Bobrovsky's been good.
And I think he's playing. Knight played last night. I would imagine Bobrovsky's playing.
I would think so. And Knight's been better since he went to the AHL. LA game.
Cassie, 6-1. LA game. They are going to win in overtime 3-2.
Vegas is.
Yes.
Nice.
You have to win at some point.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, it's not going to be LA. It's going to be against Minnesota on the road.
Seattle's got 18. Arizona's got 20.
Yep.
Montreal's got 16. You got to win sometime.
Do you know how many wins the Chicago Blackhawks have?
I do, actually. They have 22.
Do you know who has 19 of those wins?
Where of that? Wait, I actually think I have a bobblehead of him standing on top of the Las Vegas sign. It's him.
Yeah, 19 of 22 wins on that team in Chicago.
Look at what he's doing here. You see him on the Vegas sign?
He's riding it.
He was the face of the franchise for a minute there. And what did they do?
All right, I'm going to say Vegas loses to LA, but they beat Minnesota, lose to Winnipeg. I got a hunch on Minnesota for some reason.
I have a hunch on LA. I'm going Florida loss, LA win, loss at Minnesota, overtime loss at Winnipeg.
Okay.
3
Mark
points
it down.
in 4 games. Not good. Actually, 3 points in 4 games isn't that good.
Yeah. Somebody just offered me $740K for the next 12 months. I'll take it.
I need to read that.
I need the money. I'll take that.
Can I have that? Can I have that? What do I get to do for that?
You get like 1%. Well, you help facilitate this. Well, you and Jim Jimerson are definitely going to get a meal out of it. That's for sure.
Whoa. If we need a goalie, I have video.
Oh man,
I was elite.
His back can't handle it anymore.
You're talking I was like a 9-16. Grab your nuts.
Grab your nuts. They can't do this anymore.
Oh, I thought he was going to grab his nuts. Chandler Stevens style.
No, it's a family show. It's a family show, even though it's right after dinner.
I've said fuck 4 times on the family show. It's brutal.
All right.
This was fantastic. Thanks to the Jimerson Law Firm. This was a rowdy one. I will say. I got crazy in this one.
You did.
I did.
Let's hope for some good things to happen. Let's hope for a surprise.
You know what I'm hoping for?
Ice cream.
No, better. Mark Stone, the head coach. Head coach Mark Stone. Good night, everyone. This was fantastic.
You're crazy, man. I like you, but you're crazy.
Yeah.